but apparently everything we talk about affects Nigerians one way or the other. But then I think this is peculiar to Lagos. And the fact that if you're a Lagosian, there's no way you are not hit with this, except probably you're flying even within Lagos. Probably you have a chopper that is always taking you everywhere within Lagos. But then if you don't have, you come or you have an encounter with all that has to do with traffic in Lagos. I had to make my way to the island sometimes last week, and I literally spent 4 hours. I spent 4 hours. By the time I got to where I was going, I was exhausted. And I was telling myself, people do this on a daily basis. And that is aside from the fact that, when you're traveling outside of Lagos, is another drama entirely. But, there's so much construction going on right now in Lagos, Wiki. So many ongoing all at once. And for me, I don't know, this is telling on the health of people. People might not necessarily see it, or people might not, pay attention to the fact that this is telling on their health. But apparently, this is something that I would say is really, really telling on people's health, knowingly and unknowingly.
Absolutely. The issue of Lagos traffic is something that if we're not careful, it's not even an issue if we're not careful. We have gotten used to it. It's like, it's part of life. And really, it should not be. It's something that is bad. You can't be spending 4 hours. There are times that even to and fro from your house back to your house, you probably spend about 8 hours. That's 8 hours of your time being unproductive, tiresome, and of course it tells seriously. But you see, we're looking at it from our own perspective. We're not looking at it from the perspective of the government.
Okay.
Because I want to believe that they would have taken an helicopter view. And if they haven't, that would be too bad. So we reach out to Commissioner for, I think it's Works now, I think her portfolio is Works. Yeah. Let them take an helicopter view of Lagos and let them see where the bottlenecks are. And then let them, with planning that, okay, we cannot obstruct traffic here. We can do a little bit of construction here so that there will be free movement here. Done with this part, we can move to this part. An helicopter view will show them how to plan the construction. Because obviously our roads are bad and we need fixed. But then when you are fixing it, let there be a plan. So if there is no plan, too bad. Let there be a plan. But if there is a plan, then let us know. Not that two major roads that are intersecting, you are constructing it at the same time. And there's a whole lot of traffic. And really, if you, like I said, it's unproductive, because when you spend 8 hours, 4 hours of your time that you're supposed to think of things, do some things, run some businesses, see some people, meetings, you are spending it static in the car. And then you have health issues. There are times that people have fainted. There are times people have passed on while waiting in the traffic. So I think because of the technocrats we have now in the cabinet, I think they need to look at that and see how they can, construct the roads. Repair the roads, but make life better for us in Lagos State.
But then, I'm wondering, even when you have to do that, now I'm going to use the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway as an example now. The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway itself is another how am I going to
it's another ball game
entirely.
Yeah.
I was going to Ibadan the other day as well. I left here around I think I left the park at exactly 4 p.m. and I didn't get to Ibadan until 10:30.
Wow.
Now we had to go through go to Remo, Ikweru, all of that access for us to be able to link the express back. But then, it was another time that I passed through that road. I was like, okay, this road isn't actually that long, but it was because of the traffic. At a point, it was really a standstill traffic. Now we have construction going on simultaneously.
Yeah, that's the issue.
And we don't have, or let me say, the alternative routes themselves are not really motorable. And you have a situation where, oh, you have been told this is the alternative route that you can take to go wherever it is that you have to go to. But then, why don't we put into consideration that there are people who are going to be in this traffic? And if we have to close a portion of the road, then we should be able to make sure alternative routes are actually motorable or are convenient for people to be. It's even if the alternative routes are not probably tarred, probably you have graded them or something.
It's motorable.
It's motorable for people. Because I'm just thinking now, I'm a commercial motor driver, right? I'm a bus driver, apparently. And I have to be applying a particular road to and fro, and the road isn't really so good. It's telling on my vehicle. It's telling on even the passengers that are carrying. Whoever it is that is driving is telling on your own health. And definitely, there is going to be increase in transportation fare.
Obviously.
And we're experiencing all of these at once, including inflation that has to do with food. I'm just wondering, where are we really actually even getting respite?
In God. In God and in our families, when we now come back home to a lovely family, you understand,
right?
You still have cause to thank God that.
So those people who don't have lovely family, then it's
they must look for family. They must have good neighbors. They must have good neighbors. But that's why I said, for every work going on, there has to be a master plan, and an helicopter view of where the roads are bad. When you are constructing, okay, can we make alternative routes? Can we divert to another place? That can be done, looking at it from an helicopter view of Lagos. And that's why I put the challenge to the stakeholders, doing that. That is what they should do. They cannot do two major roads simultaneously. You understand? One after the other. And then, of course, they have to be efficient about it and fast about it. And then let us also talk to ourselves. When we point one finger to the government, three is pointing to us. The government will do their job. And we're only telling them that let them plan it very well and carry us along, tell us where the alternatives are, make the alternatives motorable.
But I think they actually carry us along on telling us where the alternatives are.
Not all the time.
Okay.
There are some roads that you just feel like, what's happening? There is traffic. Oh, they are constructing. For the major roads, yes, they do.
Yes,
let's give it to them.
For the major roads,
yes, let's give it to them. But for some others, they don't. You just find that
bump into
exactly there's construction on and blah blah blah. When some other companies are laying their pipes and things like that. I mean, it's like a lawless country. You understand? So, but where I'm going now is that even we as citizens, when there's something like that, before you know what is happening, our energy level to bypass, to do shortcut, to be smart will now come in. Then that's when you see us taking one way. That is when you see the impatience in us.
Yes, and that actually makes, transportation even more stressful.
Yeah.
Because I know that when I was journeying to Ibadan, I discovered that was what happened. Now we have those people going, out of Ibadan, going to block those coming into Ogun State.
Yeah.
Now, if those people don't move, there's no way you will also move.
Absolutely.
So, I think patience when we're driving also is another thing that.
Let's be honest, we need it in Nigeria. I don't know what happened to our patience level that we have totally eroded it on the streets. Seriously. Once there is a little challenge, particularly the commercial drivers, the next thing is that they are looking for that smart way. If it's one way, they will take it. Whatever it is, they just want to get out of it. Patience to say, okay, what is causing?
What exactly is the problem?
Exactly. Okay. Can I come down even before the road workers and the road safety people come in there, or a meaningful policeman comes in there? Can I see what is happening? But you will not. Everybody just wants to do their own thing and move out. So whatever it is, there are times you always face it here, even right in front of this airport.
Yes.
Simple. Just wait for 1 minute before you know what is happening. The whole thing jam around one. So we need to talk to ourselves as well. We need patience. We need that, particularly on the road, because when you don't even have patience and you are just raising your blood pressure unnecessarily, you go at the end of the day, if everybody is there, stand still until one meaningful Nigeria comes to solve it, you will just be there causing yourself, stressing yourself and everything. So while we talk to the government, Buki, let's also talk to ourselves, Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Buki. 29 minutes to 1 on Women Radio 91.7. And definitely you're listening to Panorama. And we have been discussing on the issue of traffic in Lagos. I would like to get to hear from you if you have had, any experience that has to do with traffic in Lagos. And apparently you can't tell me you've not had an experience or an encounter with the terrible traffic in different
Also
parts
that
of
December
Lagos.
is coming.
Except you don't go out. But if you work within you work within the same environment, let me put it that way, and you don't really have cause to go out. But then if you do, it's a whole lot in Lagos. I would like to get your contribution. 07000 917 917 090256 25455. Are the studio lines still called to be a part of Panorama? You can send in a WhatsApp or a text message to 070 317 56537. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Buki, Femi, how are you?
Doing great, sir.
The dedication is
She's not here today.
We have to go and look for her and bundle her back. She's not here today.
hello to you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for saying hi to us. Thank you. But yes, if you want to join the conversation, I would like to get people's experiences, because all of my experience, when I went to the island, I went beyond Aja. I was almost at Lakwe, and by the time I got back, my body told me I went out.
Yeah, obviously. All your bolts and nuts. they will be on school.
Hello,
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is calling from Moray. Thank God that you are back.
Thank you very much. It's good to have you, Ife. Your contribution.
Yeah, thank you. Really miss you. Good afternoon.
I missed you too.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I know that our mom is not around.
Yeah, she's not in today.
Traffic in Lagos, that one another story. In fact, just know the finish. I remember like a month ago when I was coming from Lagos, we drive to Lagos and we came fast. It was terrible. Getting down from the vehicles as if almost paralyzing. I'm telling you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so.
In fact, so the traffic in Lagos, they should do something now. And the bad roads too. We have a lot of bad roads, post roads. In fact, it's not good for one's health. Even this traffic, it's not good for our health. I don't know what is going on. The vehicles are too much, no road, in fact, God will help us in this nation that we are. Everything God will help us. Everything, 90% of our problem goes to the government. If the government can just do meaningful things, better, in fact, I think this country will be a better place.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I think one thing she said is, let us all do things the right way, and the country is going to be a better place.
I was even about saying that apart from the major constructions going on and our impatience, another major contribution is bad roads, which she has said. The bad roads, it's a big issue. I remember, I think on the Badon Express Road one day, it was terrible from Magboro Aripo side. And then by the time we got to, was it Wawa, thereabout, you know what caused the traffic was just a little pothole. And I was saying, my God, just the pothole, And we know we have, apart from the meaningful Nigerians, but there's a local government around that area. It is your duty to fix that. Just pause some things, a temporary measure, and call the respective ministry to do it. And the traffic will ease out. But that was not done. So as long as many vehicles are applying the pothole, it's deepening.
Yes,
It's
yes.
deepening. It's deepening. So when they look at all these things, I mean, the stakeholders responsible, let's just do what is right. Like you always say, do what is right in your office.
All right. So, still talking on the issue of our roads. Now, there is so much that has to do with bad roads in Nigeria. I had a family member who actually came in from Sokoto, and I was telling her how is the road from Sokoto to Ibadan, and she said, "Dano corner lasha gbatiti tasha fijamotiti me," and I was like, "Oh, really?" She said the road is so bad that and this is not just probably from Sokoto to Ibadan alone. You're going to come across several states before you get into Ibadan. And now, according to a report that we got today, the Senate has actually said that for the maintenance of the 35,000 kilometers of federal roads across the country, they're going to be needing 400 billion naira to do that. And they described that 38 billion embarked for road maintenance in 2021 budget estimate as paltry compared to serious maintenance required on the nation's federal roads. Now, when we talk about maintenance, starting off, first of all, isn't maintenance just alone? There are some roads that need to be totally reconstructed, not just maintenance. Now, there are some roads that are so narrow that you're wondering what is happening here. And you have an articulated vehicle has to pass through that place. And probably you have two of them have to go side by side. And you're wondering how would they be able to successfully pass through this road to get to their destination. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Peace and I'm calling from Magoro.
I didn't get your name.
I'm Peace and I'm calling from Magoro.
Yes, it's good to have you. Peace, your contribution this afternoon.
First of all, I would like to say that I love your shows.
Thank you.
First of all, I would like to say that I love your shows.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
All right. Thank you so much, Peace, for calling in. Thank you very much for your contribution there. To talking on the issue of the roads, right? You have a trailer has to, or you have two articulated vehicles have to pass side by side. You have the road is bad. You have that on one hand, the road is narrow on another hand. Then you have the population for Lagos on another hand. And I am wondering, we're going to spend this amount of money on just maintenance, right? What about those roads that need to be totally reconstructed?
Well, I want to believe that 400 billion also has some major roads, because I'm sure by the time we look at the breakdown of it, one will be able to ascertain, fine, yes, the report says maintenance, but I mean, I also know that there are some roads, there are some federal roads that have been budgeted for, for construction. But you see, for me, is either it is even the 400 billion that it is the estimated amount that they need for maintenance. And meanwhile, they have budgeted less than 40 billion, which is less than 10%. My own is that money. In whose hands are they going to put that money in to do even the maintenance? When we're talking about the 1% now, I mean the 10%, the 38 billion.
Yeah.
Because you find out that so far, I mean, if you are looking at about 50 cases, 40 of them are handled by people that don't have integrity. That before they disburse the money, and after they disburse the money, by the time you look at the roads, you cannot even I understand there are some roads that have been completed, and when you get to that place, you cannot see any atom of completion. The money had been chopped. There are some that maybe they have a little bit of decency. They did one or two things on the road, but maybe it's just 10% of what they're supposed to do. So my own is, let us even fight corruption. If you are talking about 38 that they have budgeted for in 2021, anybody that is going to earn those monies via project, can they do what is right? I believe that the monies they have spent so far in constructing, in maintaining the roads, if they had done it with integrity of heart, love for their countrymen, those roads will still be there serving us. I'm sorry, Buki, have you passed some roads that were built
years back?
Yes, you still see that some of them are still good.
Nothing is wrong with them.
You understand?
My own question, because I was still going to come to that.
Yeah.
Now we have some of these roads that are still very motorable. And we now have some of them that are being constructed now. And you discover after a few years, or let's say after 2 years, that is the one that actually even tries so hard.
Is it 2 years?
After 2 years, the road is already in a very terrible state that you're wondering, when was this road constructed?
That's what we're saying. It's values. Our values have been thrown out, and that should not be.
But then, should the government be totally exonerated from this?
We can't. Because the truth is that
the government actually gives out those contracts to these construction companies.
And we have the so-called senators that have oversight functions. Apart from that, we have the project monitoring team. You understand? So what are they doing? You understand? What are they doing? Thank God for organizations like Tracker now, and then I think one or two others, that they're now following up, and then they're now putting it on social media, So that will give a little bit of let me comport myself, you understand? But the truth is that why must we even get to that? If you love your country and you say the national anthem and you pledge, to the country, if they give you something to do, even common community road, if they give it to you, do it very well. Let generations come and say, oh, who did it? And then they can point to your family that, oh, in that family, these people are people of integrity. Whatever you commit into their hands, they will do it well. Not that, you don't know his uncle. His uncle was the one that they gave that project of that road that did not do anything, You understand? And meanwhile, they've passed the bill that the roads have been constructed. We've had that severally, and that should not be.
Do you think that we actually have leaders who are willing to actually go this extra mile? Because for me right now, it might not be going the extra mile in the normal sense, right? This is supposed to be what you're supposed to do.
It's your responsibility.
Right? It's your responsibility. But we have found ourselves in a space where doing that responsibility now looks like you're going the extra mile to make sure things work. But right now, looking at the situation of things in Nigeria and looking at some of our leaders that we have in position of authority, do you think we'll have leaders who are willing to go that extra mile, in quote, doing the right thing to make sure life is bearable for the people?
To answer your question, I would say we have, but there are few. That's the truth. They are very few. And they are people that we do not celebrate. We do not celebrate them. And as long as we do not celebrate them, people will not know about them. That's why we find that when we talk, we look at the majority. And really, the majority is, if majority are doing good, even the little bad ones, we will say, let that go. So that's the reverse that is happening.
Yeah.
It is because the majority are not doing what is right. That's why you find out that when somebody does it, okay, yeah, we celebrate it in our small corner, but we don't bring it out. There are many people that have actually done those projects and they did it fantastic and it's very good. But majority of them, we don't have majority of them being in that good books that we are talking of.
Okay. Thank you very much, Buki. And you're still listening to Panorama on Women Radio, WFM 91.7. Let's get 256-25455. Those are the studio lines to call to be a part of Panorama this afternoon. You can send in 70-317-565 Radio 91.7. And we have still been discussing on the issue of construction of roads and the state of traffic in Nigeria. Or let me say in Lagos, not in Nigeria, in Lagos. It's really terrible right now in Lagos. And interestingly, I was in Ibadan and I'm thinking Ibadan is actually towing that line already.
Mm.
Yes, Ibadan is actually towing. There's some places in Ibadan that it is by default. You just know there's traffic. Default. And if you know you are not in a hurry, you can stay in your car. But if you know you're in a hurry, I'd better pick bike.
And another thing that is also causing it is that the number of roads that we have are not expanding as per the
The
expansion of the
population that we're having,
population.
yes,
Yes, you
yes,
understand.
yes. Mm.
So you find out that as more estates and communities are
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 developed.
developing, it's still that same major road.
Mm.
That's why you find out that a road that should now be about 4 lanes or 6 lanes is still 2 lanes.
Mm.
You understand? So for us is I know we have the urban planning agencies, that are in charge of urban planning and all that. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they're there collecting salary. Some of them will say we want to work, but we don't have the resources. Some of them will say, okay, we have the resources, we don't want to work. Well, whatever it is, I keep saying that when you are given an assignment, when you are given a responsibility as a leader, you have to solve problems.
Mm.
You are not to impede, you are not to create, you are to solve. That is why you are there. So don't give us excuse of this or that, of that, or that. When you are there, do your best, push for the best. You understand?
Mm.
Because if communities, okay, for instance, let's look at the communities that are expanding in this our locality.
Mm.
You understand? And it's still the same road that all of us have been plying for years.
Mm.
You understand? Yes, I know they have it on the master plan to expand, but for
Yes.
how long?
Mm.
You understand? More communities are expanding, more villages are turning into cities, and it's still the same road.
Mm.
So that's another big issue.
Mm. All right.
So that's another big issue.
Mm. All right. Thank you very much for that. And yes, I want us to touch on these, but probably tomorrow we'll dwell on these effectively. The issue of security weekend, there were series of that some persons were shot, some persons were kidnapped.
The Borno, right?
Yes, Borno State.
That they were beheaded, 43.
Yes. And there's a whole lot of controversy right now with regards to that. We also have in Ondo State, there was a king or a traditional ruler who was actually killed also in Ondo State. There are different stories that happened in different part of the country like that, Buki.
Mm.
Now, people are constantly in pain. People are constantly mourning. That's what I would call it, constantly mourning. Because you discover that a situation happens where a family loses a loved one. Okay, we're beginning to get used to the fact that, oh, this person isn't there anymore. Then all of a sudden you discover, oh, this other person probably has gone again from the family. And the cycle continues. And even if it hasn't got into your own family, the fact that you keep hearing these on a daily basis, it affecting you psychologically, one. Secondly, you're wondering, what is going to happen to me? Am I safe in my house? This is our reality in Nigeria.
Buki, the only safety net that we have is, honestly, and that's why we have to look up to say, God, you are my shepherd. You understand?
Mm.
Because anywhere you are, you're not even safe. Even in your home, outside, you're not. I mean, look at the poor farmers. They went to
harvest
their farm rice, for goodness sake.
Mm.
And then you people came and then started beheading them. It's so sad. I mean, seeing those dead bodies wrapped, for the when they were conducting the burial ceremony, it was like, oh my God, do we really have a leader? Do we really have somebody that we can say this is our president that is fighting for us? More so that, I mean, he has a military background. And you have intelligence gathering, you have strategy, you have all your intel, whatever that you can knock them. And it's an era of technology now that satellite can see quite a lot of things.
Yes. Mm.
You understand? And yet your people are dying. At times I wonder that, do we still have human feelings? Do we still have human feelings that, I mean, we're talking about America, we're talking about advanced countries where one person dies, is a big deal.
Mm.
But look at how many thousands that have
Mm.
And yet, we are thousands that have died.
Mm.
And yet, we are clamoring on, can you do something about the security? Can we do something about the head? You know, in some climes that if one person dies, in fact, you don't even have to wait for somebody to say, to sack you. You say, well, I think I was irresponsible on this part.
Mm.
I resign. But meanwhile, you are there. For us, it's like we are just patting them on the neck. Because even if you look at what he said, you wonder that what's in this statement? You understand?
Mm.
People are dying every. Was it not last week we talked about Abuja, Kaduna Road,
Mm.
where the undergraduates were kidnapped? And you keep hearing stories every day, every day. Me is I've said, well, God, you are my shepherd. So as many as want to join me, that is the safe net that we have now. That God will keep us.
All right. Thank you very much, Buki. Hello, good afternoon. Contribution this afternoon.
On the issue of the traffic,
Mm.
on this our own houses here,
Mm.
the government, if we are not going to be sincere about road construction, don't let us be sincere. Let's first know where we are. Number one, the government have been constructing this stretch of road since they came. It was only Asheshe end that both sides have been completed since 2015. It was only Asheshe end that you have both sides completed since 2015 till now. No, both sides are completed. To add to the injury, Julius Berger is behaving corporately, socially irresponsible. Because the way they go about, they close the road, they don't make alternative. For instance, in Mago end there, we are supposed to be taking this build well side to this. They refuse to create it for so many hours. They refuse. They make sure that it is becoming difficult for everybody to come out. That should not be how the nation is supposed to be governed. You are giving a job to be done, and you see that others are suffering. Calculate the number of things that we done on this highway. It's much more than the money that we are spending on the road.
Mm.
It's far much more. The money we are spending on fuel, that individuals are spending on fuel to repair their car, they are not productive. It's much more than the money that is being voted for that road. Go and do your statistics very well. You'll find out that what we are spending on fuel, on all this is much more than what the government is projecting. We have a government that is sincere. We have a government that is heartless. We have a government that is indecisive. We have a government that just wants to sit to occupy position.
All right.
Who just wants position without responsibility.
Mm. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. And yes, Buki, I want you to comment on the last statement he said.
I mean, you could see that he's talking from his heart. I
Mm.
mean, this is a man who has experienced quite a lot of road challenges, and it's true. I also fall into that because at times I wonder that, okay, this contractor is doing this. We know the brand of this contractor, and meanwhile, you did not create alternate roads. Even the so-called alternate roads. Buki, there was a time that I don't know, because I wouldn't say I have authority on that. I have investigated, but I mean, what we had was that they blocked it again. You know that they use their hands to dig, a part of it so that people cannot move, even on the alternate route, that it is not theirs. People just created that, out of the little part, and we kept wondering that. But ideally, I mean, by their brand, by their standard, even when you are doing a major road, you have alternative roads. What stops them from even grading? Why would they now stop it somewhere? I mean, that was the rumor we had. And like I said, I'm not too sure of that. But we saw it, that it was not passable at a point. It was not passable at a point. So my question is, do we even have standards?
Okay.
Do we even have standards? Because the truth about it is everything still falls back on values. If you love your fellow citizens, you won't want them to be hurt at any point in time, either on the street or when they're in their houses or when they're in the hospital, wherever it is. There will be that care, that love. So the question is, do we even love ourselves? Like he said, you are there for the pecs. You are there to be called honorable. You are there to be called senator. You are there to be called chairman.
Are you ready to take up the responsibility?
But the truth about it is, you are there because of the problem you are to solve.
Mm.
You're not there because of the pecs.
All
You are
right.
there to solve the
No
problem.
problem. All right. Thank you very much, Buki. I would like to get your final words this afternoon.
Well, final words. Basically, we'll talk to one another that any job we have been given, be it a small job, be it at the local level, community, society, home,
And I think this has to start with
organization.
individuals.
Yes, individuals. You do it well.
Hmm.
You do it well. So if you're in an organization and they say, "Oh, go and organize the filing rack," don't do it just haphazardly. Do it very well. I've forgotten the name of this person. I think it was Lincoln, if I'm right. I can't remember now. But he said, if your job is to sweep excellently well.
Mm.
If it's to draw very well. You understand? Whatever you are asked to do,
Be good
do
at it.
I mean, just be good, be excellent, that they can say, in fact, we're very fine.
Mm. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Buki, for joining us this afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here and to see you once again.
Yes, and it's nice to see you.
All right. And thank you for your call as well. Thank you
And
for
today's
staying.
the last day in the month.
Yes, today is the last day.
Thankful.
All right. Thank you so much, Vicky. Thank you very much for your call. And yes, to the production team. Thank you, Daniela Daja and Esther Larry. We'll be here again tomorrow. Panorama holds every day of the week, Mondays through Fridays. I am Bukola Balogun. To enjoy the rest of your day.
To sponsor this program, please call 080-9058-2769.
I'll be standing by, oh, right by.